I want to introduce myself. I have been married for 44 years. I have 4 boys and 12 grandchildren. I wasn't sure how I was going to love raising these boys because I started loving to cook about 5 years into my marriage. When I developed a love for cooking, my mom thought I would never want to cook. She tried to get me to learn how to cook in the kitchen, and I said, I don't have time for that. I don't want to learn how to cook. I'm going to be an airline stewardess and travel the world. So, fast forward that, I got married and my first children were twins. Twin boys. I should have known boys were what I was going to be raising. But I love my boys, and guess what? They are the best cooks ever. I taught them how to cook from scratch. They were not allowed to use box mixes or anything when they were growing up. I made them grab a cookbook and look up a recipe, and they had to figure it out. So because of that, they can make homemade bread, homemade cinnamon rolls. They both have, 2 of my boys have smokers. They cook amazing foods. So they developed the love of cooking, and so I'm grateful for that. So all these years, people have been asking, when are you going to do a cookbook? Haven't had that happen yet, but soon, hopefully. So what I thought we would do is, through a friend who felt like I should start doing this and making these videos, and I'll share that story of how that all transpired later on. But today, I just wanted to give you a little bit of background of me and my love of cooking and where it developed from. And basically it developed as I was raising my kids and figuring out how to feed 4 boys. And then it developed into feeding neighbors and feeding friends and having parties and catering weddings, and it just kept growing and into something I thought I would never love doing, but I do. So today I would like to tell you we are going to make meatloaf. I know everybody's probably like, that's your first choice, but it truly is for 2 reasons. 1, I happen to love meatloaf, and 2, my sweet mother-in-law, who has since passed away, taught me this recipe years and years ago when I first started to cook. And she used this wonderful special ingredient called chili sauce in the meatloaf itself and in the sauce. And I fell in love with it and have used it forever. So I hope that you will love it and you will enjoy the episodes to come and enjoy mixing with Robin. Okay, so today we are making meatloaf, and I'm glad that you tuned in to Mixing with Robin today. So I want to tell you a little bit about the meatloaf. I have 5 pounds of hamburger in here and somewhat lean burger. And into this mixture, by the way, everybody needs one of these tools. It's the best. It's the best to break up your meats, whether you're cooking in a pan on the stove or just trying to get your burger to mix up a little bit so that you can add in all of your seasonings. So into the 5 pounds of hamburger, we are going to put 4 teaspoons of onion powder. We're going to put 2 teaspoons of garlic powder. Then we're going to put 1 teaspoon of garlic salt, just a little bit in there. And then maybe, I have measured out a little bit more, but I think I'm going to use a little bit less of the pepper, maybe a half a teaspoon of pepper. Okay, to the hamburger, we are going to add between 3/4 and a teaspoon of table salt. There is a difference when you're using table salt versus kosher salt. You're going to use a little bit less of the table salt, and that is per pound of hamburger when you're doing this. So anyways, we mix that in, and like I said, this tool is great. A lot of times I will just take my hands and I will mix it up and get it all together. I'm not into wearing the gloves unless I absolutely have to, I like to feel the meat and be able to feel it going into all areas of your burger. Because for meatloaf, you want to make sure your seasonings are mixed really well through that hamburger meat, okay? Before you get them put into your containers. So today, you could probably tell, obviously I have a red shirt on, so I'm gonna focus on making these meatloaves mini. This is gonna be mini meatloaves today. When we put it into the pans, I have some heart muffin pans. And this is something you can do for your family. You can make each person in the house that is having dinner with you on Valentine's. You can give them a heart meatloaf on their plate and then put a little sauce on it. And in another episode, we're gonna show you what the sides can be with that meatloaf. Okay, so once you get all the dry seasonings mixed into your burger, you want to start to put in your other ingredients, which the only other ingredient that I have going in as far as a vegetable of some sort is your chopped sweet onion. You want to mix that into the burger. And then you also, I have some other seasonings. Our secret seasoning that I talked about when I introduced myself, that my sweet mother-in-law taught me, is you put in a full jar of this wonderful chili sauce, okay? It goes into the meat, and it also goes into a sauce that we'll be making later that goes over the meatloaf. So these meatloaves I used to make when my kids were little, and instead of making a big meatloaf, which you can do with this if you're serving a big family meal, but for special occasions, I like to put them into different muffin tins, or for Valentine's, I put them into the heart-shaped muffin tins. So each person gets a little heart made with the meatloaf. And it's really fun for the little ones, and it's also fun to take and make these up and go on a picnic with your special sweetheart for Valentine's and serve a little heart Valentine for them. And also there's these people that are special in our life that we used to have as neighbors, and they were elderly and they didn't get out and they didn't get to go and have fun things happen. So a lot of times I would take them over a heart meatloaf when we were having it, or invite them to our dinner. But if we wanted them to have just a little romantic evening together, I would make a heart meatloaf for both of them with all the side dishes to go with it. So don't forget to spread the love when you're making your meatloaf, okay? Okay, now we have all of our dry ingredients. We have our onions that we chopped up, mixed in. So now it's time to add our secret ingredient that I absolutely love. You can find this chili sauce. It's kind of one of those things, unless you know to cook with it, it is like a hidden gem. So I put it in a lot of different things. I put it in a sauce I make for meatballs, and there's numerous things you can put into it. But you find it in any of your local grocery stores should have it. I happen to get this one at the Fry's grocery store. And if you have a Fry's wherever you live, it's there. Or a lot of people I see shopping at Aldi's. We just now in Arizona have started to see Aldi's popping up too, but I know they're like back east in the Midwest. So wherever you're at, just look for the chili sauce. So you just want to just dump it in. And again, remember, I'm using 5 pounds of hamburger meat. So this bottle is, I believe, 12 ounces. This is a 12-ounce bottle. So you want to put that in and then just mix it really well. A lot of people don't like, while we're mixing this, and I'm looking at the onions, a lot of people don't like chunks of onion in their meat. And if that's the case, don't put the onion in. You can have it without the onion. You need to, meatloaf is kind of one of those dishes that you make to suit your taste buds. I personally love onions. I have one of my boys does not like onions, and so some meals I will adjust that and not put the onion in there. I think onion gives great flavor. And then a lot of times I will grind it up, but you have to be careful not to grind it up too much because then it gives it a kind of a weird flavor. But I will make it minced so fine that my one son doesn't even know it's in the meatloaf, but yet it gives me the flavor I need. So you can do that too if you really like the onion, but you know some of the people in your family don't like it. So once you have that mixed in, kind of look at your meat and see, hey, this is gonna be okay. We can mix it like this. One of the other things that I do sometimes is, and this I just got at Walmart. It's a great value, ketchup, but it has jalapenos in it. And this is amazing. If you want to spice it up and you want to kick it up a notch, you can add a little bit to your hamburger, or as I've done before with the sauces, I'll make 2 different sauces, one that's spicy and one that's regular, so that your little ones can eat it. Like some of my grandkids, although I've taught all my grandkids to eat spicy, so they pretty much do. Also, if you like to put breadcrumbs into your meatloaf, feel free to do that. And with the 5 pounds of meat, I would probably put somewhere around maybe 3/4 of a cup, but put as much as you want. I this time am putting, and I'm just shaking, so I'm gonna guess I'm gonna have in here about 1/4 of a cup of Parmesan cheese added into this meatloaf, okay? So you just get that mixed in, and once you have that mixed in, then you're ready to start putting them into your muffin tins. Okay. All right, we are ready to put our meat mixture that we've made for our meatloaf into our pans. And if you are just wanting to make one giant meatloaf, I typically will put it on a large cookie sheet, spray it, or put some parchment paper down first, and then just kind of pat it to where it's a good 2 inches high and maybe like 4 inches across, so that it cooks properly. It will shrink a lot, and then you can drain the grease that cooks on there off the pan, and then cover it with your sauce towards the end. So when this is all done, I will show you how to make the sauce that's gonna go on it. But you can also make them and put them in a muffin tin, which works really good to freeze, works really good for individuals, or people where there's maybe 2 or 3 in the home and they won't eat a giant meatloaf. Also, here's our fun little heart-shaped meatloaves that we're doing. And these are great because you don't have to spray them. You just grab up a hunk of your meat and you pack them in, and make sure that they go all the way down in, and that you leave this little heart, where the heart comes in, leave that so that you get the actual heart shape when you take them out, because these will shrink up a little bit as well when they're in the oven cooking. And these are going to cook at 375 for right at 40-45 minutes. Just use your thermometer and check it and make sure that they are the right temperature for you and the right doneness. Some people like theirs a little more rare. I like my hamburger cooked. So anyways, we'll get these ready and put them in the oven, and then we'll make our sauce. All right, we're gonna make our sauce for our meatloaf that's cooking in the oven right now. So it smells good. I wish you had smell-o-vision. So my thoughts on this sauce, I've always just done it like this. I dump and go. This is why we decided to call this show Mixing with Robin, because we're going to be mixing it up on this show. I'm going to hopefully tell you hints and tricks along the way that I've learned in all my years of cooking. And also, everything to me is made with love. And so when you're cooking from the heart. So it doesn't necessarily have Sometimes you have to have an exact ingredient, but in sauces, I have a tendency to just play with them. So here it goes. We are gonna put an entire bottle of ketchup in here because I like to have a lot of sauce later on during the week left over to put on my meatloaf. So there are fun things that you can do with your meatloaf too. So even the little mini meatloaves, you can take those and slice them. And I love to get a good loaf of sourdough bread and take that sourdough bread and butter the heck out of it on both sides and spread a little bit of mayonnaise, okay? Then you put the side down that is buttered and grilling, and then you layer a layer of meatloaf, a layer of Monterey Jack cheese, and a strip of Hatch green chili. Oh, and keep going until you've used all the meatloaf, and then put that last slice of bread on, and then grill it and serve it with homemade fries or whatever you would like. And I love to have my leftover sauce to dip my grilled sandwich in. It is the best, so you'll have to try it. But more of my chili sauce. We gotta have the chili sauce. So we put a bottle of chili sauce into your pan with your ketchup, okay? And it's gonna be a little bit of a spice, okay? So you're gonna cook this down a little bit, and you're also going to add a little bit of brown sugar to this. So we're gonna put a little bit of brown sugar in this as well. Okay. All right, we're gonna add a little bit of brown sugar. This is about a half a cup of brown sugar that we're gonna add to that. And we're gonna let that cook. I like to cook it on about a medium heat. And I know everybody's stoves and burners are different, but you get that cooking, get your sauce cooking. We've added our ketchup, our chili sauce, and we've added about a half a cup of brown sugar, okay? And this is kind of a taste and test as you go. I also feel like onion powder is key in so many things. People don't know that they don't really realize it's in there. So when I pour this in, we're probably looking at like 3 teaspoons of onion powder in here. Okay, I like to turn the heat up a little bit when I'm kind of getting close to the end, but you have to be careful because it likes to pop whenever you're using ketchup and chili sauce. You have it on too high a heat and it's gonna start popping kind of everywhere. So sometimes if I'm still adding a few things, I turn it down. This is, and I'll show you guys, it's kind of thick, but there, see it's popping at me. You put in about a teaspoon of mustard, and I like to use a good mustard. And this one here is the stone ground mustard. I love the stone ground mustard when I'm making this sauce. It just has a lot of flavor to it and gives it a little bit of a kick. We're gonna do a taste test here. I'm gonna take that off for a second and see if we have enough brown sugar. Ooh, that mustard in there tastes amazing. So in this, when you add that mustard in, you want to add it in small doses because stone ground mustard is a lot stronger, but has such a great flavor added to it. And I do think we need a little bit more. So we added a half a cup of brown sugar. Now we're doing the taste test again. We're gonna add just enough to give it just a teeny bit of sweetness. Because when that meatloaf comes out, that meat is gonna give you that savory, and this is gonna give you a little bit of the savory, spicy, sweet to go with that meatloaf. And yes, I have a tendency to be a messy cook sometimes, but it's okay. Messy cooks make good food. So, all right, this is something I discovered in a gift that we were given. And it is amazing. It is called Desert Provisions, and it's called Hatch Green Chili Salt. And it is super salty, so you want to use just a little bit of it, but it has the most amazing flavor with the green chili in it, the Hatch Green Chili. I'm a big fan of Hatch Green Chili. We used to live in Gallup, New Mexico. If anybody knows where Gallup, New Mexico is, it is surrounded by the Navajo Reservation. And I spent 12 years there. Moved there when my twins were 5 months old. And I was a city girl, born and raised in Phoenix, Arizona. And when I got there, I did not know what happened to me. It was the craziest place ever. So, I was afraid to go to the grocery store, drive. It snowed like no other. And we actually ended up, I had two of my other children were born there, my other two boys, and we lived there for 12 years. And I thought, I'm never gonna get used to this. I'm never gonna get used to this. And people used to ask me all the time, what's the best thing about Gallup? And I used to say, looking at it in my rearview mirror. But the people that lived there were amazing. And this is the honest truth. It is the only place that you can go do groceries. At the grocery store, they had an Albertsons when I lived there, because this was years ago. And it was crazy because you could be grocery shopping, and on the aisle, the Native Americans, they were amazing. They would sell you their jewelry that they made while you were grocery shopping. So I could buy Christmas gifts or birthday gifts while I was grocery shopping. It was the coolest thing ever. So, and the same in the restaurants, the local restaurants, they had them come in, the Native Americans, with their jewelry that they made and their sand paintings, and they were beautiful, and they did beautiful work, and I loved it. So it was an experience that I will cherish and never forget. And through that, made lots of friends and learned to love green chili. Hatch Green Chili. Love, love, love it. Okay, our sauce is just about done. To this, if you like a little more kick, they make a ketchup that has jalapenos in it. And this is just at Walmart. I just got it at Walmart. I will a lot of times just give it a little bit of a squirt and add that. And my favorite, one of my favorite ingredients, my little red peppers. They're like crushed red peppers. I will put some red pepper flakes in to spice it up. Again, at this point, keep cooking it down. And if you want to take some of the sauce out for little ones that maybe don't eat the spicy, at that point, once this cooks down for a good 15 minutes, you can pull that out and then just add a few peppers to the other sauce so that you can have two different varieties of sauce going. So, all right, our sauce is ready, and we're gonna wait for our meatloaf to come out, and then we'll plate it, and we will be eating. Yum. Okay. Our meatloaves are done, and they did take right at 20, maybe between 20 and 25 minutes in the oven, and they look great. This is how they come out when you just put them in the muffin tin. You're gonna get a lot of grease depending on the grade of meat that you choose, okay? Sometimes this meat I happen to buy at Sam's Club in the big packages that they make. Sometimes I'll pick a really nice cut of meat and have the butcher grind it really fine. And a lot of times that will make some really good mini meatloaves, and they'll be a little bit more tender than just buying the big bulk package. So you can also do that. Also, our heart ones turned out so cute. So they will be a little bit sitting in a little bit of that grease, but you can just see the little heart. It's so cute. And so I like to take it, put it on the plate, and we made our sauce to go with it. And one thing that I do like to do is do a little bit of dropping on the plate, and then take our sauce that we made and just drizzle that all over and let it run down the sides. They are so cute. And then served with a nice side salad. You can serve them with the smashed potatoes that we made on one of our other segments, and they're perfect. And the sauce, you can freeze this sauce. You can set it aside, like I said, and use it in other things. I have been known to use this in like meatball sandwiches and get a really nice hoagie bun and grill it with lots of butter and Parmesan cheese. And this is it. And for an added little bit of color, again, we can sprinkle just a little bit of parsley on top and then serve it with those smashed potatoes, and it makes a great Valentine's meal. I hope you treat your sweetheart to a wonderful Valentine's dinner. Whether you're going out or whatever you're doing, make it a fun time for the ones you love. And always remember, every day may not be a good day, but there is good in every day. So go find the good and share it.